I love Singapore. It's, for me, the perfect combination of East meets West.
Just for me at least, it's a continuous level of comfort to not be cold. And I love going out discovering new food.
It's such a great travel hub.
Singapore is a major hub for a lot of startup activity, finance, tech, and I think Indeed have an important role to play.
We fit in because there is this pool of talent that we can draw upon. We have a very diverse workforce here. And as a company, we're committed to building that strong Singaporean backbone.
We're made up of so many different cultures. Yes, there's different cultures, but there's still a local feel.
For job seekers, right, we want to try to make it easier for them, give them an easy platform to use.
I love the mission. Everyone needs a job, right, to improve their lifestyles, to support their family, to be better people in their life. So I think if we're able to help achieve these goals for every individual, it's really something meaningful.
We are introducing transparency to the market, closing the gaps between the job seekers and the employers.
We're a corporate organisation that acts as a small business.
There's a lot of independence and a bit of entrepreneurial kind of nature that we have in the office here.
The support that was given to us as a team has been really great.
The open PTO is another great benefit that we have here in Indeed. We are able to take time whenever we need time.
It shows that how much the company trusts us, and they give us the flexibility to complete our tasks in our own pace.
The work here, we are not looked as a satellite office. All the work here actually impacts the mission directly.
We're building product that's going to have global reach, global impact. It's deep tech, it's deep product. We're doing stuff that is fundamental to the Indeed product portfolio.
The people that are coming on board now, they're going to be future leaders in the team, both on a product level, on a people level, on a culture level.
The opportunity to be part of the APAC market from here is incredible. I like the idea that we can talk to so many more people from here.
You should come to work with Indeed if you like to innovate, if you have great ideas, if you like to learn, if you like to try something new.
It's actually a very exciting opportunity in terms of tech, in terms of design, in terms of people, in terms of just pure talent. Indeed is one of the best places to work in Singapore.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us today here at Career Journeys with Indeed. So what you've seen just now is a short snippet of what we have within Indeed and how the work culture is like and what we usually do. So today we'll be sharing with you more about career journeys across various Indeedians that we have here in Indeed itself. So I am Alan. I am a university recruiter from Indeed. So basically I actually deal with all the university outreach and all the different events that we have with university students like yourself, right? So moving on, today we have 4 panelists with us joining us to tell us about their journey today. We have Lynn, who is a Director of Engineering with an international platform with Indeed itself. So she has only just recently relocated to Singapore, and she has been working on small and large tech companies in Silicon Valley for the past 20 years, right? We have Scott, a finance director for APAC and also a Singapore board member at Indeed itself. So he was actually one of the very first Indeed employees in Singapore itself. So he was kind of tasked with setting up the business and helping it grow in the market itself. So previously he has worked, across a number of countries in US and Australia for various companies. So we'll be speaking with him more about his journey later. And upcoming we have Apple, who is also a software engineer in Indeed. So before she joined Indeed, she has actually worked for small and big tech companies in Japan like Rakuten. So I think some of you have some memories about it, right? So now currently she's with Indeed building products that are helping employers to actually showcase the company to job seekers like herself, right? And last but not least, we have Hans, who is actually a software engineer at Indeed as well. So he's more of building products to actually reach out to our employers globally. So prior to actually joining Indeed, he has spent more than 20 years in the software industry and has been a lecturer with NUS as well. So if for those who are at NUS, you may or may not have seen him, around the ISS schools. So currently now, he's actually, been working with us for quite some time. So I will head on and we'll have a short conversation right now about their careers. So moving on, we're talking about career journeys and everything. So, starting off with, a little bit of introduction about everyone. So maybe, Scott, starting from you, you can let us know, tell us about yourself, your job in Indeed, the background and one fun fact about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. It was great to see that video. Actually, I haven't seen The Office for like 8 or 9 months, so it's exciting to see what it used to look like. Hopefully, it's still the same. Look, I've been Indeed for over 5 years now. I'm obviously the finance director and a board member for Singapore. So I kind of came here in the infancy of Indeed, moving from the US. And before that, I was in Australia. So predominantly an accounting and finance background is where I've been, but have seen this business grow exponentially, and I really do love what we do with the business. Interesting fact about myself, and it's a bit of a unique one, is I actually learned to play an African drum. It's called a djembe. Many years ago back in Australia, and I actually had one gig at a pub back in Australia with a group of fellow drummers. That's the last gig I ever did. Let's just say that.
Oh, that's really interesting. Well, up next is Lynn.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Lin Yang. I joined Indeed 5 months ago. Scott has been here for 5 years, so I'm quite new with Indeed. I originally came from China, a city called Qingdao. It's kind of a tourist city. If you drink beer, you probably know that. It's also famous for that. So I went to US for school and then stayed there. In the past 20 years, I was in the Silicon Valley working for different sides of the company. Started as a developer and then moved to management. Here in Indeed, I'm the director of international platform team, development team, leading the effort we build a platform for international business. One fun fact for myself, I saw Apple's her picture has the ski. That's really remind me. The first time I went to ski resort. That's about years ago when I was a college student, maybe a little bit older than you guys. I was in the graduate school. So went to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's a very nice result. That was my first time. And somehow I was able to manage to take the card to the Black Diamond Route. So I didn't know how to ski at all. So I was really scared. I think I'm going to die here because it's already like late afternoon and the ski results is, I was really lucky. Ski patrol found me and eventually she rescued me with the ski sled, the rescue sled. It was a really interesting experience.
Oh, this quite an exciting time for you, Lynn.
I remember that. But when you're young, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
The student here, they have a lot of fun in their life.
Yeah, I agree. When I was young, I could fall down and bruise myself and hurt myself and I would recover
Alan, you're
the next
so
day.
young. When you see I was young, I want to laugh. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So moving on from funny stories, Hans.
Hi, I'm Hans. I'm currently a software engineer in Indeed. I'm working with a team called International and Employer Engagement. So it's part of the international platforms that Lin Yang talked about this now. So what our team does is that we build tools that allow Indeed to reach out to our employers more effectively. And basically in my team, I have in my team, we have 3 software engineers and 2 product managers, and the entire effort kind of led by one TDM, or technical delivery manager. So in kind of, since this is a career journey, I kind of want to summarize my career journey so far. So I started as a developer. I started my job in Indonesia, and then after a few months, the company expanded to Singapore. I was lucky to kind of be one of the first employee here, and then grow my career there. When I leave the company, I was the lead solution architect in the company, managing one solution architect team. Then I move on to be a professional service in a software product company. And after that, I tried do other things, being open source advocate for enterprises for Sun Microsystems. And then kind of my career bring me somewhere else. Where I become a lecturer in NUS, stayed there for quite a while. Then then after that, I decided I want to go back to hands-on software development. Then I joined Indeed, right? So yeah, it was quite a fun thing. One fun fact about myself, yeah, I mean, when I'm at home, alone or not, I like to sing operatic arias and musicals. Yeah, I think that's probably kind of unexpected if people know who knows me.
I have no idea. I have no idea you like to do that. But our next happy hour, we should get you to do some notes.
Oh, no. That's why I say at home.
Okay. All right. Last up, Apple.
Hey guys, so I'm Apple. I'm also a software engineer at Indeed. So I want to share my career journey. So I started my career as a web developer in the Philippines for an investment bank based in Australia. So there I get to work with people from different countries. And after a few years, the mobile technology started growing and I became interested in that. So I switched to another company and got the opportunity to live and work in Japan. So there I worked on multiple mobile applications for 5 years. And on the latest application I worked on, we actually use React Native. So if anyone's familiar with that, it's very similar to React, which is for web. So I took the job because I'm interested in web. I took the job. I looked for opportunities and options and I found Indeed. So I worked hard and studied hard, prepared for the interview, and I passed. So now here at Indeed, I worked on products that help employers showcase their company. So it's by providing the employers with tools to improve their branding and actually give them analytics. Yeah, so fun fact about me, I love food. Especially here in Singapore, there are different food to explore, different options. So I love exploring different hawkers and different niche restaurants. So yeah.
Yeah, being in Singapore, we all eat food all from all around the world. We always explore every single hawker center, and there's always that Instagrammable place that most reviewed places, and it's such a.
When I go to hawker and see, oh, there's a long line, that's good. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. That's a good tip for me, for a newcomer like myself. Okay. I normally try to avoid the line, but you're right. It makes sense. I should stand in the long line.
Yeah. Whenever we see queues at hawker centers, we're always like, is it actually because the food is really good or the hawker is actually preparing really, really slowly? We'll never know until we tried it. Right. So moving on to to talking about work experience and everything, right? I think for Lynn and Scott, the both of you actually mentioned that you all have worked internationally, and that there's a lot of places that you've been to and a lot of companies you work with. So can you tell us more about these experiences, international work experiences, and has it actually helped to develop your career faster, as compared to like maybe having local experiences?
Lynn, do you want to go first?
Sure. So yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in China. I got my bachelor degree there. Then I spent a few years working in China. Then moved to US for my graduate school. Then after that, I went to Silicon Valley. Definitely, I see the culture very differently. And even today I moved to Singapore, I'm learning, right? So I think in terms of the experience, how does that help as a person and also for personal life and professional? Number one, from personal experience perspective, it's really fun and very challenging. You know, you got to a new place, so you need to start to really learn a new things, sometimes a new language, and this is a new food even, right? The food is not a homemade, it's not mom's food, and I meet different people in personal life, in the professional life. You kind of learn how to work with people. So this, I think, is the one biggest advantage, is help me to be more open-minded, to learn how to listen. Those are really important for the career growth, right? Particularly when you grow to a more senior role, and know how to really understand people, listen to people, to put yourself on other people's shoes, will be really important. The character is really important. One thing like I learned, I started to work with, I don't know if our guest has people from India. So I was in Silicon Valley, we have an Indian colleague. That was my first time kind of working closely with the folks from India. And sometimes they say yes, they would like shake their head, they say yes in that way, right? Not no like that. That's really, is yes or no, you know, those kind of thing. But comeback is really you learn how to really be open-minded, I think, and be able to find the common ground with the people who do not have the same background as you, no matter it's race, gender, age, whatever, and be able to work with them and put things together as a team and then moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that difference in culture, between different countries and different groups of people really kind of open your eyes and let you be more receptive to other cultures. We might have like come across a lot of many strange things, but once you actually work in a different country and you get to meet many people, it kind of like open up your eyes and expand your horizons. Yeah, Scott, what about you?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Australian, in case people didn't figure that yet. But again, like that's part of diversity, right? I started in Australia, did all my education, my senior learning, my first kind of careers starting at KPMG, doing the kind of the audit accounting background thing, and then had an opportunity through my wife for her to shift us to the United States. Obviously, that's a bit of a life change, going from being so far away in the world in Australia to the other side of the world in the US. So that was kind of an eye-opening experience, a great experience. Again, New York is, although it's in the US, it is such a diverse melting pot. And again, like Lynn talks about, you learn such a different perspective. You learn so many things about cultures, about ways of life. You become far more accepting, far more tolerant. You just build these great skills that if you had stayed in your country and your one home, you would have never learned any of this about the rest of the world and what it means. Just how much bigger the world is out there and what is out there. Like, yeah, so I was fascinated when I was looking for jobs because I had to change my career and do everything like that. So I gave up my job. I started like talking to agencies and recruiters, like, oh, what jobs can I do? And they're like, oh, we've got jobs. There's a job here. You should go and interview with the NBA. You can talk to the Bloomberg. You can talk to these massive organizations that were unheard of or impossible to get into back home in Australia as a market. So that gives you perspective. That gives you realize that there's so much more out there in life. And then shifting to Singapore as well. Again, a whole new thing. I know it's terrible to say this, but my mum thought Singapore was the third world country. So not knowing that, like for me, like Singapore was never on my radar. It was a place we just knew that was up north of Australia, basically. And then coming from the US, you just accepted it somewhere new and exciting. And so having the skills to shift, knowing what New York was like and how different it was, Singapore is going to be different, but you can adapt and you can change and then develop more culture. And, obviously, that's worked out pretty well. I'm still here, so that's quite good. But again, it is about building character, strength of character, being able to deal with challenges, deal with things differently, and know like you're not alone. There are so many people doing so many similar things to you. It humanizes everything. I think traveling and being international really humanizes people. It takes away the kind of you're from here, you're from there barriers. It really is. It's so different, but so the same at the same why. Yeah. So it's been my life.
Yeah, we're always talking about different barriers when we're working across different countries and everything, but when you travel for work and you work with many different people, nowadays it's more about the global workforce rather than just the country workforce, as we had traditionally. And especially with COVID, we kind of like really connect everyone on Zoom all the time. So I assume like all of us has been like on Zoom like maybe 90% of our work All right. So, yeah, Lynn, you were
One
saying?
point I want to point out. So I joined Indeed Singapore. It's surprisingly, Indeed Singapore is really diverse. I have to see my colleague from like New Zealand. I never had a colleague from New Zealand before when I was even in Silicon Valley. So this is just one example. Like I have a colleague from all over the world. So Indeed is in terms of like a experience that Scott and I had, like we're seeing to a very diverse experience working with a different team, different people from different background. Even you do not decide to work internationally, and join Indeed is a fast path. You will have that experience.
Yeah, and we are all very connected in such a sense. So it's really very easy to get a lot of exposure to different cultures and everything. We kind of like celebrate festivities from all over the world in just one office. So it's really interesting in that sense, right? So working internationally, working for quite some time, I'm quite sure all of us kind of like face a lot of challenges along the way, and we meet a lot of roadblocks. So specifically for Apple and Hans, right? Probably you could share with us about what was the biggest challenges you have encountered in your career so far. Maybe Apple can go first.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest challenge that I've encountered so far is my switch to web development. So I mentioned before that I was working on mobile. So I already have 5 solid years of experience in mobile development. And switching to a different technology is exciting, but it's definitely quite frightening. So although the core concepts are the same, like object-oriented programming, and even the languages are the same, like in mobile we were using Java and Kotlin. In Indeed, we are using Java, and on front end, we're using JavaScript on both sides. But then I had to learn new libraries. So to overcome that, I just put this mantra that like technologies come and go. So just like keep the core concepts intact and just be able to learn and adapt to these new technologies. Just be open to learn, and yeah, it's a continuous learning process.
Yeah, that's very true. It's always about learning and not giving up, and moving on from there, and so that you won't like kind of make the same mistakes over again. Right, Hans, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to share two of the challenges that I have encountered in my career. The first one I would like to share is the challenge that I face when I need to choose like between job offers, which companies do I want to join. Yeah, I think it's always a very difficult decision because you can see a lot of when you are at that point in time, you have applied, you pass the interviews, you get the offer. Those are the companies that you like. Those are the companies that you think are good, right? Then you have to make a decisions. For me, just to share like how I deal with this is that it's important for the company to be compatible to my own personal values, right? So for example, like in my first job, one of the reasons why I joined the company, even though they are not paying the most out of the different options, is because I get to know that this company doesn't like ask the employee to sign a bond or contract with them when they send the employee for training, right? Which is a practice that is pretty common back then. Like if you go for 1 week training, they bond you for 6 months, for example, that you can't leave within the 6 months. Yeah, I think that kind of reassure me that this company like valued its employees, and it's probably a good company. I think having a company values that is compatible to your own helps you to be able to be more comfortable, that you can really enjoy your working experience there, right? But of course, on the other hand, there's no company that's perfect. Like, yeah, if you have an unrealistic expectation, then yeah, you are going to be disappointed. Yeah, I mean, just to have a call out for Indeed, right? I think Indeed has a good culture, has a good values. The second challenge that this is one of the big one that I encountered is when I was pretty comfortable with one of my previous jobs. So I think that in that job, the company culture was very, very good. It was so enjoyable working with the management and the coworkers. But then the CEO retired, and the new CEO come in. And I didn't expect that change to actually change the culture so much. So over like a short period of time, I think in months, right, the entire culture of the company changed. And actually, and it's just because the kind of the CEO changed, right? The rest of the people is mostly kind of the same group of people. So luckily at that time, I think I was pretty lucky. I'm in a good team and we have good managers, good coworkers. We still kind of enjoy our interaction within our groups. It's just that sometimes we are not very comfortable with the way the company is going to and so on. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain limit that whether how much we try to change the policy, it doesn't really change too much because I think like we don't have enough power to change the company. And yeah, I think that was quite a big challenge for me at that time. And in the end, I just decided that, well, I think I may be happier somewhere else. So I move on to another company. And I think that experience kind of teach me one thing that, well, good things may not last forever. So even though it was initially very good, it turned out like not very compatible. And you should keep yourself updated with skills that's marketable, so that you always have that option. You are not locked within a particular company.
I guess we all have different kind of challenges, and as you can see from Apple and Hans, they have quite varying challenges. One was in terms of the technical competency from one kind of job to another, and Hans was like more of like a career structure kind of a change, and having a company structure change, that's a kind of a restructuring, that's really quite a different thing. So there are many challenges that you might see along the way from starting your first job all the way up to being a senior level individual at a company. So these are just some examples that you may meet along the way. So for Scott and Lynn, right, having been working in so many companies and for such a long time, and can you just tell us more about a time where probably you have to make a tough career or work decision, and how did that actually work out for you?
This is a tough question. I think it's your turn to start, Scott.
I was waiting for that. Sorry. Yeah, so like I think a lot of the kind of tough career and work decisions, you're obviously going to face them all in your career. It organically happens in any organization, organizations you're a part of. Obviously lifestyle career decisions. Obviously moving from me, as I talked about before, shifting from Australia to the US and US to Singapore. I think they're obviously definitely hard life decisions and tough career challenges. But I think then talking a little bit where Hans was on about career choices, about what jobs to take. So when I actually moved to Singapore, I didn't move with Indeed. I had to leave my old job in the US with a big FMCG company. And then I was landed in Singapore. I'm like, right, my wife's busy working. What am I going to do? How am I going to get work? What's going to happen? So obviously there's a visa requirements in Singapore. It's a lot more challenging. So it's this mental roadblocks you kind of get through. You push yourself through them, knowing that you start branching out, talking to different people about what's good, what's not. Then you start having a few interviews, and then offers come in. And Indeed, the decision to join Indeed was a challenging one, because Indeed didn't really exist in Singapore when I arrived. I think there was a registered domain and one person on the books. I think that was about it. So coming from a massive US organization, going to well, hang on, is this a startup? Is this a career choice I want to make? Am I going to be like, am I going to not make any money? Is it going to go bankrupt? You have to ask yourself all these questions, right? And then you start doing the research, and then you start getting involved about what makes you happy about a job, like what Hans talks about, what keeps you interested, what's great, what's going on. I interviewed with, I think, 7 people before they put me in the role in Indeed. And over the course of meeting all these people, they were so positive and so happy about the role, the mission, what they do, and how much potential there was with Indeed. And once I'd gone through all that, I felt really comfortable that, hey, this may not be the ultimate job that I've always wanted in my life, but there's so much more potential to do and things I can learn and grow and develop myself. So my advice would be kind of get out and talk to as many people as you can, get as much information as you need about what you need to do. It helps you make better decisions, whether it's career or life. I think that's been kind of the biggest change for me. And definitely, obviously, great outcome. I'm still here, still working, living the good life. So at Indeed.
I can imagine how daunting it must be, to join a place where there's like only one employee in the whole country, and you're like wondering, oh my God, am I getting into something real, or is this a scam to move me somewhere and get all my money away?
we had a small little office with like 2 desks in it and 2 chairs. And one of my first employees, I had to go and buy the laptop for him myself because we didn't have the IT support.
So you're really the founder of Singapore office.
I want to say yes, but yeah, it was a few people.
You're too humble. Yep. Cool. It's a very interesting experience, Scott. Thank you. And there's a lot of tough decisions, like my age, I have to make in the past many years. So one of the things is really the career change. So I started as a developer. I was a developer for about 10 years. Then I was seeing a point I start to really want to be able to have a larger impact. I want to really get to understand the business, and I want to really be able to contribute more. Then I was thinking, should I move to management, right? And how, the funny thing, I don't know how many students they have their background is engineering. For Johannes and Apple may understand what I'm talking about. Developer engineers, they have this pride. They feel like, oh, I have a really cool job. I don't want to lose my skill, right? If you move to management, you will be hand off, and you may out of touch with the technology, then you feel scared, right? So that's quite challenging for me to see, hey, should I stay what I'm doing right now as a developer, which can keep myself updated with new technology, always kind of hot on the market, or should I just go to the management, right? Then I try to figure out what I'm looking for, right? What I'm looking for my life, right? When I just graduates, I'm really kind of have a lot of fun working as a developer. Now I'm to a stage, I really want to have a higher impact. As an individual contributor, you can impact, but not as a level as a manager you can. And also, I'm really interested in business and why we're doing this. I want to know more about this. So a lot of debate. And in Silicon Valley, if you're a developer, it's so easy to find a job. It's just job found you, okay? A manager is really questionable, and you can be hot, you can be successful in one company, but your management style may not really work for others. And then you can think about it's the last job on the market as manager. Anyway, so I spent a lot of thinking. Then I say, hey, let me go with I only have one life, right? I need to go with what I want to do. So eventually I decide to take a MBA program from UC Berkeley. And that's another thing is I have to pay out of pocket. It's a lot of money. So I was there for 2 years, did my MBA program, and fortunately it's a part-time. And it really changed me. I would say that's the best career decision I have ever made. Scott is in finance. Now I can kind of understand finance because I kind of had some sort of academic background in that. So I'm able to really talk to different people, different organizations. relatively easily with the team in the organization, and also learned quite a bit like a management, like a behavior, organization behavior, and how to manage. So so the lesson I learned is sometimes you have to make decision, you have to take a risk. You probably are in your comfort zone too long. You try to like want to keep it, and but your heart may tell you, hey, you want to do something else. Things like this, my personal experience, go without your heart. Really take a risk. Particularly when you're young, you have the you definitely have a lot of opportunity to fail. Yeah, that's my experience.
Very, very interesting. So we do have quite a few times when we, really have to decide between tough decisions on, various aspects of work and life, and we'll never know how it turns out. But it's that the really key step is to actually just step out the comfort zone and go into it, kind of like blind faith, and believe that things will work out. And you don't want to grow old and regret like, oh, why didn't I take that step that time? Yeah. So following our previous questions, right, for Hans and Apple, right, do you think there was instances where you had to decide between family and work commitments, throughout your career, and how did it go? Could start with Hans.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I had this experience before. So one of my career choice that is influenced by this family and work is when I decided to switch to a teaching career. So at that time, what happened was that I was doing professional service. I was doing pre-sales for software product companies, and that kind of bring me to a role where I get to travel a lot. The schedule was quite unpredictable because basically your clients' requests kind of determine your schedule. If suddenly there is a request for a presentation in Philippines, then you have to go there, and so on. It was an exciting and interesting role. You get to do a lot of things, meet a lot of different people. It was busy and hectic. And at the time, I had a young family, had a young kid, and then I decided that, well, I want to be more involved with my kids, and I can't really travel a lot, no matter how exciting that is. And then there's an opportunity for me to get an interview and get an offer from NUS to teach, and it's in the subject that I like. Yeah, so after considering the pros and cons, yeah, then I kind of decided that, well, if I take that route, I still kind of work in a industry or in a position that I like, which is software development. At the same time, I can dedicate more time for my family. That seems to be like a good bargain, even though I have to take a pay cut, right? So I think like what Lynn says, right? You just have to know what you want, find out what you value, and after you analyze the options, then you go with it.
Yeah, very true. Sometimes you have to take some drastic decisions in order to know what matters to you in life most. And I would say like sometimes family is really what's important, and it depends on how you kind of balance between the two, and finally make a decision. So for Hans, it was the pay cut. Yeah, but you get to have more quality time with family and all, and I think that kind of balance out, the pros and cons. Yeah. So Apple, what about you?
So for me, since I worked in Japan, and Japan is infamous for overwork, yeah, I have a fair share of experience in that. So there was this project where I am the tech lead, and it's the first project that I led. But the timeline for that was really tight, and we are short of resources. And But this project is really important because it is for a new client. So we wanted to deliver a good quality product and to make a good impression so that we'll get more projects from that client. So in order to deliver and meet the deadline, I worked really hard. I worked overtime for 3 months. And in doing so, I had to skip some gathering with friends. I skipped some calls with my family. And it even took a toll on my health. So when the project was completed after 3 months, I look back and say that it is not worth it. Like health and family is more important than work. So after that, I learned my limits and I learned to properly say no and like be transparent that this is the amount that we can deliver. Yeah. So yeah, just know your limits and prioritize accordingly.
Yeah, I will agree. Yeah, sometimes you really have to, take a stand for yourself in terms of be it mental health or physical health, or you have to make sure that you are at the best of your capabilities, and in order to really move forward in your career or in life, in that sense, and make the full use of it, and still feel that it's a fulfilling job that you're doing, right? Yeah. So, moving on to Lynn and Scott, understand that both of you are in a leadership role, and you're both leading different kinds of teams and everything. So for those of the students here who are actually looking into a management role in the future, how would you advise them to grow into management in this case? We can start with Lynn.
I guess it's my turn. Okay. So I think this is number one important. You want to ask why you want to be a manager. If your answer is, hey, money or social status, then those are the wrong answer. So think about manager is also a career, right? Um, you Everybody has one life, I mentioned earlier, so you have to figure out what makes your life journey happy. So to be a manager, to choose any career, if you just for the money or for social status, I would not recommend you choose that career. You have to like it. So manager, first of all, you need to like to work with the people. You're going to work with all different kind of people. You need to have a patience, you need to have an empathy, right? And you like to lead, you like to kind of grow people. When other people grow, make you happy in your bottom of the heart. If that's kind of you, then manager is the right thing for you because you're going to get fun along this journey. Okay, that's important for any career you choose. You try to get the fun from that. Once you decide to a manager, I think even you start as a very junior member of the team, and then start to learn leadership skill, right? Even a small project, you start with a lead yourself to own end-to-end stuff, and then start to lead the take initiative, right? Some of the work maybe not is challenging, or is maybe not very visible, or maybe it's not very fun to work on, but it's important. Like volunteer yourself, do more volunteer, and also trying to find some support group around you, like your mentor, like find someone in your organization, a manager, say I want to like him or her. Reach out to see, can you be my mentor? This is what I want to grow with. Trust me, 99% of the time, for people who are senior, they want to mentor people, or they like to share their experience. So yeah, take that advantage, right? Gather your support group. Yeah, that's how you started. And along the way, there's a lot of things you can learn as like any career manager is the same. But first of all, you need make sure you like the job, and then try to build the leadership along the way. Yeah, Scott.
Yeah. I will agree. Yeah, kind of, because if you don't have the passion to help people and lead people in that sense, and it's gonna be troublesome in some ways. We all have our bad share of bad bosses in a way. So we definitely don't want to become one of them. Scott, yeah, what to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Ditto everything Lynn said. That's great advice, guys. So if you hope you recorded that. I think one of the things also to get into management over time, it's something you may not know you want early on in your career, but you learn over time. You figure it out as you go along. And so for some people, it's really natural for them to be a natural born leader. I think that phrase does exist. There are people that just can automatically stand up and talk and they're part of everything, and you're like, well, how did they get that skill? What did they do? It's some people it's natural, and that's fine. But for 99% of the rest of us, it's a skill you've got to learn and develop over time. And how do you get into management at a business? I mean, for me, most advice I've been given and I give to other people is just get involved in every opportunity you can to learn about every aspect of the business you're in. There's so much about building your profile in a business that puts you out there amongst the people, taking risks, as we talked about earlier. That's kind of where you understand how much impact you can have on a business, and what you do impacts the rest of the business. And when someone in that other department or that other division knows that you're kind of understanding what they're doing and how you're working and how that impacts them, they kind of see you as someone to go to talk to. And then all of a sudden this kind of wildfire spreads about how great your performance is and what you're doing. And then people will automatically think of you as a person that could be, hey, this person could be a great fit for this new position that's coming up in the business, because they've been able to contribute so much and they understand the impacts. I mean, it's not all just about, this is probably more from the software engineering side. It's not just about technical. Yes, technical is going to get you to build and develop, but to be a manager, the soft skills become far more important at that point, as Lynn mentioned as well. So yes, technical can get you promoted, but can only get you so far. I think that's one of the things I've learned over in the finance world. There's only so much technical people out there. There's always somebody better. There's always somebody smarter. There's going to be a new system or a new bot or a new AI that's going to supersede the technical skills. But as a people and a leader and a manager, these skills you want to learn, the soft skills, and I think one of the biggest ones I kind of learned over time is empathy. I think that's really, really, really important as you kind of, as Lynn mentioned about talking about caring for people and wanting people to succeed. You do learn that over time, and you develop that as your career goes on. You won't have it day one, but look, over time, if you want to kind of head that path and go that way and get a mentor, these are things that will get you into that management world. So.
Yep. Totally agree with the empathy word, because you really need to be able to empathize with your colleagues, and especially if it's your own team, it's going to affect how everyone gels together, and for them to actually look up to you as a leader, and for them to be following your guidance, along the way on whatever projects you might be working on. So talking about learning soft skills and everything and all, like going to Apple Enhance, right? What would be the most personal positive change that you're proud of in your career up to now? Because we're talking about like learning soft skills, becoming a better individual, or a better employee or colleague, in a sense. So what would be the most personal positive change that you're proud of? You can start with Apple.
Yes, so for me, the most positive change that I'm proud of is that I can say that now I can communicate better. So through the years, I've learned that different people requires a different communication style. So some people prefer being straight to the point, being direct, while others prefer to be more subtle. Like for example, when I was working for an investment based in Australia, they want straight to the point. But when I was working in Japan, conversation tends to be more subtle. It takes a long time to make a decision, and you have to consider how others would feel. So this kind of things, like just be aware and be mindful every time which communication style suits this particular situation. So yeah, that's something that I can be proud of.
Yeah, I agree. Communication is really very important, and various countries there's so many different ways to communicate, and whenever you move, there's new things to learn and new nuances to kind of adapt to. Right, Hans, what about you?
This is, I think, is a bit hard. It's a tough one to pick. But I think I'll talk about my attitude toward failure. Being someone that like pretty good when I was in school, right? When I start my career, I was very afraid of failing, right? I think it's like it's a habit from school, right? You want to get A all the time. You are scared of failing, and it kind of carried to the career, and sometimes it's like, yeah, sometimes I just want to take a safe approach because I'm afraid of failing. But over the years, like no matter how good you are, you can't be best and everything. You meet people that's a lot better than you. You make decisions that is not the correct decision. So eventually you fail. So I have my fair share of failures, and I realized that actually failures is not as, like most failures doesn't have significant impact over the long term. Well, you may be embarrassed, you may feel like you're beating up yourself at that moment, but then life goes on. Probably nobody really cares too much except yourself, unless you really affect a lot of people. I mean, like one of the experience that I had, like one of my failures is that I took a job that end up that couldn't perform. So like I thought it was a good job. I thought I'm suited for it. I took the job. After a few months, I realized that, hey, I don't really enjoy doing this. And because of that, I couldn't really be very good at it. So it's a wrong decision. But yeah, I mean, you recover from it. Right. So I think, I think nowadays, the way I look at like taking risk, making decisions is that, well, as long as you try to make the best decision based on the information that you have, make a calculated risk, don't be too scared about being wrong, right? Because you will end up being wrong some of the time, no matter how good you are. And just treat it as a failing opportunity, treat it as an experiment. Actually, if you treat everything as an experiment, you wouldn't fail, because everything is a success. It's either the experiment is the one who failed, not you.
Yeah, very true, very true. I remember this, I think it was Thomas Edison, I think. He was trying to invent the light bulb, but you know, he found 10,000 ways to fail, of not being able to build a light bulb, but he found one way to build a light bulb, and that was his success. So I think all in all, the overall conversation that we have today is really about moving out of your comfort zone and learning the soft skills, and really understanding how you can use different lessons at work or in life to actually bring it across to move up to the next level, you know, in your career, and really stepping up to be that person that you want to be, you know, maybe 10 or 20 years down the road, right? So you know, maybe posing this to everybody right now, you know, any last words that you want to leave for the audience here who will be stepping up to their first jobs, you know, maybe in less than a year's time when they graduate, or for their first, you know, internship stint, you know, and things like that. Can start off with Scott.
I think the biggest one I learned over the years, it's the first job you get is not the rest of the job for the rest of your life. It's okay if it's not the best job. You can get in just to start building the skill base, and then over time you explore different opportunities. Look at all of us on the panel here. Everyone's had completely different opportunities and experiences. They didn't get the best job day one, you know, and you just try to get as much you can out of what you can get out of a job or any role that you get. You know, it really is about learning. Life is a big learning journey, and careers are it's a career. It's not a one-off thing. It's called a career for a reason. It goes for long periods of time, right? You know, and I think I just want to add a quick bit onto Hans's thing before. It's fascinating. I was also big on the, oh my gosh, I don't want to fail. I don't want anything to go wrong. I want to do it right. And I was at a meeting with our very senior leadership many years ago, you know, our CEO level, and I was sitting at a table with them just talking, and they're like, I was talking about failure. They're like, oh my gosh, we fail all the time at SLT at senior leadership level. We make so many mistakes, but no one even knows about it. And because no one really, we just move on and we come up with some idea and we figure out, and then they only see our positive stuff. But they said it's okay to fail. It's the biggest thing they keep telling me, and they're constantly teaching themselves. So if you're thinking about going from bottom level all the way right to the top, everybody's making mistakes. Everybody's failing along the way, but they're learning. I think that's very important.
Yep, totally agree. Lynn?
Yeah, cool. Yes, definitely. So industry is very different from school. When you start the first job, you will see very different. Like in college, you probably wake up at 2 p.m. and then go to bed at like 3 a.m. Don't ask me how I know it. I have a college student at home, so I know how you guys live. But when you go to work, like work, have a regular like a working hour. Even we have a really flexible working hour, but it has to common sense. Like when you have a team working with, but so you will see a lot of different thing and very different from a school. But there's one thing really really important, and it's always the same as no matter school and the work. I think Scott mentioned that it's learning. Keep on learning. Make learning as your life habit. Yep.
Totally agree that we should always keep on learning and never stop learning. Right, Hans?
Yeah, I guess I think stepping into our first job, right, it's actually like transitioning from swimming in the swimming pool to swimming in the ocean. There's endless possibilities. It's open-ended. You can go any direction you want. So I guess it's like just have fun. Don't like compare yourself too much to with other people, because everybody are different. You will like different things. Yeah, and sometimes you compare yourself to other people and you see that, well, they seems to have a better career, they seems to have a better jobs, but well, you may never know. Like everybody have their own problems. That every jobs have its own pros and cons. And the other thing is that I think once you are in the job, I think you should treasure your coworkers, because you may change careers, but sometimes the connection that you make along the journey actually is the one that make your career grow and bloom and make it more enjoyable, because you went through your career together.
Yep, totally agree. You know, it's the experience that really builds you as a person and who you are as a colleague to others as well, right? So Apple.
So for me, I just want to say that it may be daunting to start in a new job, but just keep in mind that everybody starts from somewhere. So when you join a company, you realize that, oh, there's a lot of things I don't know, and they have a certain way of doing things, but it's fine. Just continue learning, and eventually you'll get good at it. So it may be challenging at that time, but if you look back, like after 6 months or a year, you'll realize how much you've grown, and that feeling is quite fulfilling. So
Yeah, I will totally agree. It's always about, living through all these hard times, easy times, good times, bad times, that makes you realize what is it that you really cherish in life and at work, and what is it that you really want to do, 5 years, 10 years down the road, At this point of time, I think many of the students here, they're probably trying to understand what is it for them, when they join a certain job, or what is this really the right path for them. But ultimately, it really boils down to whether are you willing to take the first step to try it out, and be it in terms of compensation or location or the kind of job title that you're having. I think what matters most is what you want in your heart, and how do you want to actually move it from there, right? So we sort of have come on to the end of our discussion. I do not see any questions at the moment right now, but while you guys may be typing away and asking questions, I'm just going to remind everyone here that we actually have more events up in our Grad in Tech, a series of events or workshop in these 2 weeks. So each of you signing up for this event, you have probably been you're probably aware of what the other workshops that we have online already. So if you're interested in them, please do sign up. We have workshops for software engineers, for UX designers, for marketer roles, and we also have a few other talks, just talking particularly about women in tech, and Lynn and Apple will be there as well. so feel free to join us. And we are also looking for people to hire. So if you have been onto our website, we are looking for 2 software developers, one software developer intern and 1 UX designer intern for the year 2021. So if you are looking out for a job, feel free to actually go up to our university.indeed.jobs website to actually take a look, and you'll be able to see the jobs there. And I don't see any questions yet, so I assume everyone is kind of settled. Yeah, you're kind of sure what's happening and all. And just nice to have hit the 4 o'clock mark. So thank you everyone for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email or get in touch with me via LinkedIn. If not, I'll see you guys around. Bye.